class, welcome back to algebra class. We're going to continue on our quest for solving for the variable x. Now I was looking over some of your homework and it looked like some of you guys were having a hard time understanding how to balance an equation when you're solving for x. So today we're going to be using some manipulatives, some things that are going to give you a chance to use your hands and really get in there and kind of understand how the equations work. The first thing we're going to use today is everybody should have these plain white sheets of paper. So make sure you have about 5 or 6 of these. That's all you're going to need for those. And you should have a big old stack of these green popsicle sticks. Now these green popsicle sticks are going to represent the variable x. If it helps you remember, you can actually draw a little x on there. That's fine. These are for you to use. So if you want to try to remember which this is going to be for, you can just make an x on there to remind yourself. But these are always going to be x in our equations today, okay? The next thing we're going to be working with is going to be these little green sticks. These represent little, basically units, like the number 1. So if I have 1, 2, 3 of these, that means it's the number 3. If I have 2 of them, it's the number 2. If I have 1, it's the number 1. Now I have 2 different colors of these because I want you guys to practice with 2 different things. If they're green, that means that the number is a positive number. If it is a red stick, that means it's going to be a negative number. So this would be positive 3 because I have 3, and this would be negative 2 because there's 2 red ones, okay? So remember that. So one more time, you should have your white papers. That's what we're going to do our equations on. You should have your green popsicle sticks. You can write x on there. Those are going to be your x's. These are the ones, and these are the negative ones, okay? So let's go ahead real fast and try to solve a couple equations. You can go ahead and pull out your sheets of paper and just copy what I'm doing over here on the overhead, okay? Now the first thing I want you to do is go ahead and draw an equal sign on your paper. That's going to be the equal sign in your equation. That's going to be the middle of it right there. So make sure you draw your equal sign with your pencil or pen. Now the next thing we're going to do is I want you to look at the worksheet I gave you. You're going to look at the first problem. The first problem is x plus 1 equals, we have our equals 2. Okay? So that's simple enough. So we have our equation all written out. So we need to put our manipulatives in here so we know what we need to be solving for. So over here we have x. Now remember, these are going to be x, so we just need one of these popsicle sticks. If it's just x, that automatically you assume there's a 1 in front of it. So it's 1x plus 1 equals 2. Let's double check that. We have 1x, 1, and 2 of these. So what we need to try to do is we want to get x on one side of the equation, and we want to get all the numbers on the other side of the equation. So we're looking at this. What do we have to do on this side to make it just be one popsicle stick all by itself? Well, we have to take away just 1, right? Well, whatever you do on this side of the equation, you also have to do on this side of the equation. So if I took 1 away from here, I have to take 1 away from this side too. Now how you write that on paper would be, okay, so we subtracted 1 and we subtracted 1. So what does that mean? Our new equation says x equals 1. So we have our answer. We know what x is. X is the number 1, obviously. And that's all you have to do. So we now have solved that equation. We're done. If you want to write it on there, you can write like that if that's easier. X equals 1. And that one's done. We're going to try the next one now. It's a little bit longer. We're going to put our big equal sign in the middle. We're going to put 2x plus 3. We have our equal over here. Equals x plus 6. Then we need to put our sticks on here. So we have 2 x's. See, 2 and then x. That means we have 2 x's plus 3. So we need 3 of these. 1, 2, 3. Over here we have x. Remember, if it's x all by itself, that just means that you can imagine there's a 1 in front of it. So we have 1x plus 6. So we need 6 of our green sticks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's double check our equation. So 2x, 1, 2, plus 3, 1, 2, 3, equals x, 1x plus 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we have our equation done. Now remember, the first thing we want to do is try to get all of the units on one side. So the easiest thing to do here is, okay, so there's more units on this side, so we're probably going to want to try to move the units over here. So the easiest thing to do to get rid of the units on this side will just be to simply take away all 3 of these. The units are gone now. It's just x's. But since 3 are gone from this side, 3 have to go from this side too. So we would go minus 3, minus 3. That's the first thing we're going to do. So that would give us then 2x equals x plus 3. Now, we have another little problem here, is our x's are still on 2 sides of the equation. We don't want that. We need x's on one side. So let's look at the equation. What side is it easier to get rid of x's from? Well, obviously this side, because we have all our numbers over here, so it's easier just to keep the numbers over here. So all we have to do is simply remove our x. Now because we removed the x from this side, we have to move it from this side too. So what we just did there is took away 1x and 1x. So what do we have now? It looks like we have 1x equals 1, 2, 3. So here, x equals 3. That was pretty easy, right? I'm going to try a few more problems here. Everybody with me? Do we have any questions about how we do that? Okay, what's the first thing we have to do? We have to draw our equal sign. So we have our equal sign. Now this problem says 4x plus 2 equals x plus 8. So like before, we have to get our 4 x's. We have our x's here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to say plus 2. Remember the 2's are these ones. So plus 1, 2 equals x plus 8. So x, that means 1x. So 1x plus 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's double check that, because the last thing you want to do in math is make a silly mistake and have your answer be all wrong. So 4x, 1, 2, 3, 4, plus 2, 1, 2, equals x, there's our x, plus 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we know we have our equation correct. So, looking at this problem, what side is it easier to go ahead and take away the units from? So there's only 2 units on this side, so we're going to go ahead and take away our 2 units, which means we have to do what on this side? Take away 2 units. So we have over here, minus 2, and over here, minus 2. So our new equation is 4x, well the 2's cancel each other out because 2 minus 2 is 0. So 4x equals x plus 6, because 8 minus 2 is 6. And we can double check that if you want to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's right. So, now looking at this, we still have a problem because we still have x's on both sides. I want to be on one side. So what we need to do is remove 1x from this side, which means we now have to take away 1 popsicle stick from this side. So now we have it even. So we've taken away 1x from over here. Sorry, minus x, and then 1x from over here. So we know we have 3x on this side, and we know that we have just 6 on this side. Now, unlike before, we have another problem. We know what 3x is, but we don't know what just x is. So we need to figure out what it is just for 1x. And instead of just knowing what it is for 3x, we want to know what just 1x would be. The easiest way to do this with these manipulatives is to break it down as, well, there's 1x, and there's 1x, and there's 1x. We'll pick up our sticks. Okay, well, this equals 1x, so we're going to give him 1, but since he gets 1, his friends each get 1 too. We do it again. Okay, so he gets another one because I still have some left over, and so do each one of these. And so we can see that even though 3x equals 6, 1x equals 2. And then here's another x. 1x equals 2, 1x equals 2. So we've solved now for one of the x's. Now how you would do it on paper is you would divide by 3. We took the bunch and we turned it into 3 different parts. So we divided this by 3. Now, of course, because we did it on this side, we have to do the same thing on this side, and that's how we got our answer. We got x equals 2 by division. So it's not just multiplication. It's not just addition and subtraction. You also have to divide sometimes. So over here, we got x equals 2. So get out your new sheet of paper. First thing we're going to do is put our equal sign in. There we go. There's our equal sign. We're on to our fourth problem. We're going to turn this one a little bit different too. It's going to be 3x minus 1 equals x plus 3. We get to use our red swings now. So we have our 3 x's. 1, 2, 3 x's. And now it says minus 1. So we have to use our red sticks now. We're going to use our red units because it's no longer a positive. That means it's a negative. And then we have 1x over here. Now here we have a plus, but these are still going to be the green ones. And let's double check our equation. We have 1, 2, 3 x's minus 1 equals x plus 3. 1, 2, 3. So we have our equation set up. Well, now they're 2 different colors, so we can no longer just take away because they're not the same. These aren't the same anymore, so just taking them away is not going to make it equal. So when you're dealing with these, a green and a red cancel each other out because a negative 1 plus 1 equals 0. So to get rid of this negative 1 over here, we have to add a 1 because now it's 0. So because we added a 1 on this side, we have to add a 1 on this side. So we have negative 1 plus 1 equals 0. Those can go away. And so now over here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So how we write that now is we're going to go plus 1 here, plus 1 here. So now we have 3x, and this is 0. So 3x is plus or minus 0, so that just stays blank, equals x plus 4, because we added 1. So now we still have the problem of having x's on both sides. This is what we've been doing before. Just take away 1x from this side and 1x from this side. So those go away. Minus x. And so now 3 minus 1 is 2. So 2x equals, these cancel each other out, so we just have 4. So 2x equals 4. Now we still have more than one x, so just like we did before, we have to separate these out. And we have to evenly distribute our 1's. So this x gets 1 here, and this x gets 1 here, this x gets 1, and this x gets 1. So we can see that one of the x's equals 2. Remember, that would be written as division. So we're dividing by 2. So our answer is x equals 2. Okay. That makes sense to everybody? And we're going to practice one more time with our negative numbers before we move on to the rest of the lesson. So we put our equal sign in the middle. It's going to be our last problem. We're going to have x plus 6 equals 2x minus 2. So over here we know we have 1x plus 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equals 2x, 1, 2, minus 2. So we need our 2 red ones because it says minus this time. Let's double check our equation. X, that's 1x plus 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equals 2x, 1, 2, minus 2. We have our 2 red ones. Now I did this so that way you can see that the bigger number of x's is not always on this side. Normally we're solving for x to be on this side, but you can solve with the 1's on this side and the x's on this side. It's the same answer. If you flip these, If I said 2x minus 2 equals x plus 6, it would be the same equation. So it doesn't matter which order you put these in, you solve it basically the same way. So we're going to look over here. Since we have minus 2 on this side, the easiest way to get rid of these units on one side is just to go ahead and get rid of these minus 2. Now remember, we can't just take them away because they're not the same. This is a negative, this is a positive. They're not the same color. So what we need to do is add 2 to this side because now it's 0. Negative 2 plus positive 2 equals 0. So of course we have to add our 2 to this side now. These are going to go away because it's a 0. It's cancel each other out. We don't want to look at those anymore. We're going to do our math. So we just added 2 over here, and we added 2. Sorry, that wasn't very neat. Added 2 over here. So now we have x plus 8 equals 2x, and these are canceled out. So we're done with those. So x plus 8 equals 2. Let's double check these numbers over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we know we did that correctly because the math and the manipulatives both add up to 8. So what we were doing before is we were taking the x's. We always took the x's away from the right side, but this time it seems like it would make more sense to take it away from the left, right? Because if we take them away from this side, well, we don't have to